Cloud Retainer, also known as Xianyun, is coming to Genshin Impact in version 4.4, and we're going to do a full pre-release analysis in what I think her best teams are going to be, how strong I think she's going to be, how you should build her, whether or not she's worth it to pull for you, and of course what we still don't know and what we'll have to wait to actually test her before we can fully decide. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. I want to say first of all that before we talk about anything else, I think her design is fire. I think she looks extremely attractive, and her animations look really fun. I also want to touch on her overworld potential. Maybe I'll do that first. It's unclear exactly how good her skill will be to traverse the overworld. Can you jump after you use her skill? I would guess probably not, or else they would have showed it off. And although they did showcase her using her skill and traversing the overworld, it's unclear really how fluid and how good it will feel to actually use to get around the overworld until we actually do, because obviously the trailer is so put together and it looks like she's jumping and moving pretty fast and pretty fluid, and I'm really interested in how good it will actually feel. I've seen some people maybe not liking the animations that much. I think the animations both for the skill and the ultimate look great, but maybe I'm in the minority there. So what is Cloud Retainer? Well, first of all, her skill is this bouncy bird type of thing. So she jumps up in the air with different whooshes and then slams down on the ground. So what does it say? Can be used well in midair. Oh, it just says can be used well in midair. Okay. I really thought you couldn't use it well in midair. So are they lying or are we mistaken? Xianyun leaps forward, or do they mean like you can use it again after it's been used in midair? First of all, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. I guess the question is, can while you're gliding or something, or while you're falling, or while you're jumping, can you use it in midair then? Or does it just mean after you press it first, you can press it again to use it in midair multiple times? We'll have to wait till we can test it. Xianyun leaps forward, dealing ammo damage to targets along her path. During each cloud transmogrification state Xianyun enters, Sky Ladder may be used up to 3 times, and only 1 instance of Sky Ladder damage can be dealt to any one opponent. If it's not used again in a short period, it'll be cancelled. Okay, so you can either use her skill multiple times or just once. Good to know. I was looking at this, and so as she lands, it kind of seems to me like she pulls these hilly trails in together a little bit. Obviously it's not a huge amount of grouping, but I had heard of some other footage that was going around where she pushed the enemies away. So it seems like even if she doesn't have grouping, she at least won't have anti-grouping, which, you know, it's not a win, but it's not insult to injury, I guess. So that's her skill, and then they're going to show it off. Not only that, I was waiting for it to appear on the description bar before talking about it, but it doesn't look like they're going to shift it. It seems like did they just forget to change, like they're talking about the burst, but they didn't change the burst, they didn't put the burst description on field? Am I crazy? Okay, well, anyways, that was her skill, and then her burst sends out Little Bird, and Little Bird flies around and heals you, number 1, and also creates this like little air current that allows you to jump and do plunging attack. Now, plunging attacks are some of the highest multiplicative attacks in Genshin Impact, especially characters like Diluc, characters like Xianyun, who else? Characters like Gaming obviously will be using plunging attacks. So plunging attacks are very powerful. So enabling plunging attacks can enable a completely brand new playstyle. I'm not sure how much they talk about it here. It doesn't seem like they talk about it that much, but she will also be buffing plunging attacks as well. Don't ask me how I know this. And she'll be adding, you know, some increased damage to plunging attacks, as well as team-wide healing your whole party, as well as allowing characters who could not previously plunge attack to plunge attack again. Now, how good is this going to be? Well, let's take a look through the Genshin Impact cast and see who can actually use this plunging attack buff. Both characters are immediately out, because the characters that will benefit the most are those that can use multiplicative reactions as they're slamming down. And so you're getting one big hit as opposed to the small hits that they would have normally gotten. And so characters like Diluc, where he can vaporize his plunge, will get a big buff. And I'm so excited because I love my Diluc skin and I'm very excited. But if we just go into the character archive, or just the characters themselves, and we just look at talents and you look at plunge damage, you can see that the multiplier for a high plunge is 271%, much higher than any of her other attacks. If we look at someone like Yaimiko, 224% plunge damage, it's more damage than her charge attack, which takes about 6 years to come out, and it's 4 times the damage of her normal attack. Hu Tao is one I'm very interested in, 300% damage. It has more damage than her charge attack. It's not that you'll be completely switching up your playstyle to be all plunges like Zhao. It will be more that you'll be doing your regular combo and also weaving in a plunge whenever you could do a jump cancel maybe. So like for Hu Tao, if she's normally going to be jump canceling, well, now you don't have to just jump and just waste that time. You jump up anyways, you might as well plunge down and get a huge bonus attack that you're going to vaporize, and it's hitting massive amounts of damage. So I think it's not only going to be really fun, but really quite strong. So that's the plunging attack side of it. But there's also the second side where she is just also a team animo healer that also can hold Viridian Venerer and heals the team wide. So she can be either an upgrade, a side grade, a downgrade, or a replacement for Jean, depending on how good she is, while also enabling this plunge side of things. So if your favorite character ends up working good with plunges, you know, maybe even Risley, right? His plunge attack multiplier is really high. What if it's like higher than his charge attack multiplier? What if you can melt all of your charge attack, all of your plunge attack? That would be sick. So there's obviously that side of things. And again, wait until we can actually test it to see how good it really is. But she can also be a Jean alternative. Like if you don't have Jean, I have a hard time personally seeing them making her worse than Jean. I know she'll be better for plunges, and obviously, you know, she'll be buffing plunges, so characters like Zhao will also want to use her. But I do think that she will have a strong presence outside of plunges. I think that being a limited 5-star animo team-wide healer will most likely make her an upgrade over Jean, but we have no way to know this for sure until we actually can test Xianyun with all these characters. And you can bet I will be building and testing. Well, I've already built all these characters, but I will be testing every single one. I am pretty darn close to have been building and testing every single character, so I'll have almost all the relevant characters to test with Xianyun to see how good she is and how she really compares to Jean, especially in Farina-less teams, and whether you need to do the plunge stuff or not. I know some people don't want to. I think it's overblown how much you need to use the plunges, as well as how much it will actually change the gameplay. Like weaving in a plunge here and there is different than making your whole gameplay about pogo sticking up and down. I think the majority of people will like it and have fun with it, but it's we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and actually test her to find out. So now we've talked about teams, we've talked about kit, we've talked about strengths and weaknesses. We've talked about alternatives compared her to Jean. For value and for power, if I had to guess, she's going to be just above Jean in power. If some of the plunge teams end up being crazy cracked, then maybe she ends up being an S tier unit. Who knows? I think it's possible that Xianyun ends up being an S tier unit because she's an animo character, so you never want to count out animo characters if they bring a new ceiling damage. It's totally possible, especially since Farina is so broken. I could absolutely see it, but I'm not calling it. I'm not predicting it. I think she's just going to be better than Jean, who I have in A tier, but we'll have to wait and see. Make sure to subscribe, by the way, to get notified. I'll be releasing my Xianyun guide on day 1 immediately, and I'm really excited for it. And then for value, I think she has mega value if you don't have Farina, or sorry, if you do have Farina, you don't have Jean. I think she'll have mega value if you use one of the characters that can really benefit from plunges. And aside from that, it just remains to be seen. We'll just have to wait and see how she compares as a Jean, side grade, upgrade, etc. for other teams. Personally, the things I'm seeing make her seem like she's going to be really good with Raiden, because that's the other thing, is now that we get into the build guide, she is a catalyst user. So if you can get away with it, using a weapon such as the Thrilling Tales could be massive. So obviously if she scales on something like attack, which who knows, she probably does, because why wouldn't she? Then you won't be getting as much value from the Thrilling Tales for her buff, but the attack buff that it gives could be worth the trade-off. I don't think it'll be best in every single team to run Thrilling Tales. Who knows? Maybe you need a Favonius for energy. Maybe you want something that gives attack, like the Oathsworn Eye, and gives ER as well. Maybe that'll be her best weapon. We'll have to wait and see. Probably Viridian Venerer. There's no way that's not her best in slot artifact set. and then maybe on Zhao teams or teams that don't do reactions, maybe you want Clam or the new artifact set. I mean, if you don't want the new artifact set, that would be actually pretty sad because it's a healing artifact set that they just released. If it wasn't best in slot on the healer, that would be tragic, but 99% of the time it's going to be VV because it's just too valuable. And then just teams where you have a different VVV unit or you don't want VV. But like, what kind of team is going to run without VV? Like, you're going to mostly want Farina. It's just basically if you have another Animo unit on VV. So, and then for the rest of the build guide, we'll just wait until I actually build and test her. If you want to dig even deeper, check out the Genshin Scientist. His vids on Xianyun are really, really good. I've watched a lot of his, and also Flip has been making a lot of great Xianyun content. You can check them both. I linked them both in the description. Zajef should be releasing his guide any day now, his pre-release guide any minute now. It could be already up by the time you're seeing this. He's linked in the description as well. And most importantly, subscribe so you can get my minute one guide for Xianyun. I'll be having early access, so as soon as she comes out for you, I'll have already been testing her for 24 hours, locking myself away in my room playing Genshin Impact for 12 hours just to bring that content for you. So please subscribe, it really helps me out, and maybe turn on the bell to get notified for when that comes out. In the meantime, check out my banner review or my character value review right there, and take care and bye for now.